Democrats always seem to find themselves getting into trouble. The law doesn't seem to matter to them. And one Democrat just found himself behind bars for a disgusting crime he committed. Senator Brian Joyce, a former state senator in Massachusetts, has been on the radar of the FBI for years. The 55-year-old Democrat had been suspected of running a criminal enterprise from his office. He got on their radar after reportedly gaining $1 million through bribes and kickbacks. But when the FBI investigated, it turned out to be much worse. When Senator Joyce was arrested, he was charged with racketeering, extortion, honest service fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to defraud the IRS. As reported by the Daily Caller, former Massachusetts State Sen. Brian Joyce was arrested and charged with running his office as a criminal enterprise Friday, and is now facing a 113-count indictment from the federal government. Joyce is reported to have gained $1 million through bribes and kickbacks and has also been charged with racketeering, extortion, honest services fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to defraud the IRS, according to Newsweek. The 55-year-old Democrat was taken into custody by the FBI after a 2-year investigation and was found to have accepted hundreds of pounds of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, after he pulled strings for a local franchise owner, Newsweek reports. Prosecutors accused Joyce of using his law firm to launder money while he was still working as a state legislator. But to make matters even more shocking, this isn't the first time this month that a Massachusetts Democrat has found themselves embroiled in scandal. Massachusetts Senate President Stan Rosenberg was forced to resign in recent days due to a sexual harassment scandal. His husband, Brian Hefner, had been caught being sexually inappropriate with 4 separate men. Again reported by the Daily Caller, this is the second time this month a Massachusetts Democrat has been embroiled in a massive scandal. Massachusetts Senate President Stan Rosenberg resigned last week, amidst reports his husband Brian Hefner had been sexually inappropriate with 4 separate men. Rosenberg said Hefner is seeking treatment for alcohol dependency, and will be admitted to an inpatient treatment center for his addiction. It seems Massachusetts is the place to be if you are a corrupt or morally repugnant Democrat. At least law enforcement will do something when Democrats at the state level are caught breaking the law. Hillary Clinton put classified information on her unsecured private email server, lied about it, and then was found guilty only to not be charged with a crime. If former Senator Brian Joyce had the same connections as Hillary, the outcome of his investigation likely would have been entirely different. But thankfully justice was clearly served, and it is very unlikely former Senator Joyce will ever serve in public office again. Are you happy that a Democrat finally got some justice for his wrongdoings?
Now more of my exclusive interview earlier this evening with Vice President Mike Pence at the White House. We learned not to trust polls all that much back in the 2016 election. But much of the media just cannot stop obsessing about the president's relatively low popularity. So I asked the vice president if the tax reform triumph will lift the president's approval rating. Why do you think the president's numbers are where they are? Again, all polls, not just one, including Fox's poll, he's in the 30s. That's the lowest point of any president at this point in his first term. I'm not all about the polls, believe me, but all things considered, it's better to be popular than not. So going into this new year, midterm elections, the generic ballot, every poll shows Republicans down double digits.
Right.
What does the Trump-Pence team need to do to tell this story to suburban women, to millennials, to African Americans, to Hispanics? Are you going to go to those places, even hostile places that people don't like you very much, and sell that story?
Well, first, let me say, one of the enduring lessons for me of election 2016 was don't believe the polls. I don't remember a poll that had us anywhere close to winning, and President Trump won a historic victory. And so we're skeptical about what the poll numbers are.
You saw the turnout in the Alabama race.
Let me take your point. I think
if
the president was sitting here, what he would say to you is, we're just going to keep delivering. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep talking. They're going to keep resisting. We're going to keep delivering. And as the American people see us with a stronger America at home and abroad, a safer America. I mean, think about the progress on the international stage in the last year alone. Our NATO allies are contributing as never before. North Korea's been isolated. We've put Iran on notice and pulled out and not certified the Iran nuclear deal. And the ISIS caliphate has collapsed. We've actually taken in Raqqa, we've taken back what the capital of their so-called caliphate was, thanks to the courage of our armed forces and the leadership of our commander-in-chief. We've made incredible progress.
That's why I asked the question about the polls. That is an unbelievable record in 1 year. By any standard, if people are being objective. But the media, the establishment media, doesn't want to give a shred of credit to this administration. And many of them are actually crediting the Obama administration for the economy, believe it or not. So they're getting credit. So getting those numbers up, I know you don't believe in the polls, but you don't think that's important in the midterms with these critical Senate races, given they got a lot of people who want President Trump to resign. You got a building movement to investigate him on sexual harassment allegations in the Senate and the House. Don't you guys need that House and Senate majority?
Yeah, well, let me be clear. I'm skeptical about what the poll numbers are. But I think you can count on the fact this president, myself, our entire team, we're going to be canvassing across the country in the next year. We're going to be telling the story of the progress this country is making. But I really have to tell you, I mean, we live in a very divided time in the life of this nation. And I think the president and I truly believe that being in the most powerful economy in the world that only grew by 1.8% every year on average for the last 8 years has created a level of frustration. When the president coined that phrase, the forgotten men and women of America, he tapped into a frustration the American people were feeling, that they knew it could be better. They knew the economy could be stronger. They knew we could be standing again and commanding the respect of nations around the world. We just needed new leadership to do it. And I truly do believe that as we go forward, and we tell that story and the American people see those results, I think we're going to see some of this division in the country begin to wilt away as we see economic opportunities, wages begin to rise, our military standing tall and standing strong again.
Have you been interviewed by the Mueller team?
I have not. No.
Yeah, this has been I think over the last month or so, it has been demonstrated that key members of this investigation are loyalists of either the Obama administration and or Hillary Clinton. Knowing what you know and probably what you've seen about some of these investigators who are still working in this office, do you have faith that this will be a fair and impartial investigation going forward?
Well, let me say we're fully cooperating with the special counsel, and we'll continue to. But I have to tell you, it's just not been a focus of mine or of this president. I think the reason you saw us pass the largest tax cut in American history, I think the reason you've seen the progress of a stronger and more prosperous America at home and abroad is because whatever Washington, D.C. has been focused on, this president, myself, our entire administration have been focused on where the American people are focused. And so we'll let the special counsel do their job and continue to cooperate.
You surprised they took all those emails, the transition emails?
We're going to continue to focus on our job, and I think that's exactly what the American people want us to do.
But it does take up time because you have to do document production. You have to consult with counsel. I mean, a lot of people in the White House, they have to hire lawyers. And I mean, I remember working in the White House as a young 20-something in this building, and I mean, I didn't have to hire a lawyer, thank God, but that must not be very fun. And a lot of Republicans think this investigation is proceeding in an unfair manner because of the types of investigators that are on staff. And it continues to be a problem for a lot of people.
I can just tell you and your viewers that we're just going to continue to cooperate. But they should know we're going to continue to stay right focused where they want. When I'm traveling around this country, I got to tell you, this again, present company accepted. When you're traveling around the country, people are sticking their hand out, shaking their hand, saying, thanks for what you're doing for the military. Tell the president thanks for what he's doing standing with law enforcement. Tell him thanks for what we're seeing in this economy once again. I mean, people are standing tall again. And on a day like today, when we see the Congress under President Trump's leadership pass the largest tax cut in American history, the biggest tax reform.
So much for the divided Republican Party. They all came together.
I got to tell you, it's humbling for me to be a part of it, and we're just getting started.